Hello, I'm Michael Orwig with Monica Lewis, and we're picking up on our second segment, The Wizard's Chest. And we were talking about the level of change, enormous, coming in with the Saturn Pluto conjunction, as well as all of the aspects of all of this women and the entire generations, how they were affected, and especially the children being born under this. So pick up
Well,
your
as
story.
I said, either the men who fought in World War II were born with the Saturn Pluto conjunction in orb of affecting it, because they're probably born somewhere between 1914 to 1920. So as a result, they have Saturn conjunct Pluto in Cancer in their natal charts, and so they just acted out again. What was a collective experience of World War One becomes very personal and carried on by the people who fought World War Two.
Considering the fact I speak about the new children all the time, do you think with the higher vibrational children coming in, do you think that that karma will be clear enough for this particular group? Or do you think it has the possibility of still playing out and continue to be healed as a additional piece of karma still yet to heal for the entire generation?
I think there's going to be a big challenge for the people who are born with Saturn conjunct Pluto, which, by the way, is right now because
Right, it's anything
it's
over like
in
a 2 year
orb.
time period
It's
right
6 months until it's exact. So it's here. It's in the air. It's incoming. In astrology, we can use anything from 5 to 10 degrees in orb of conjunction, and right now we have Saturn at 22 degrees Sabian symbol. It's 2148 approximately Capricorn, and Pluto is at that degree. Sorry, it is 2148 currently, and Saturn is retrograde in 16 degrees Capricorn plus. But the end result is, however you cut it, Saturn and Pluto are within 5 to 10 degrees of where they're going to conjunct. So they're not together yet, but you can certainly feel their hot breath as they come together. And what I wanted to bring up is, I think, very honestly, the new children that are coming in, because they will have, some that are already here have Neptune and Aquarius, starting around 2011 is when they came in. And others have Neptune and Pisces, the ones that would be born now. And Neptune is, I think they're going to be in for a profound disillusionment because they're a very different vibration. They don't think in terms of the old paradigm because it just isn't part of them. They're coming from another level. But when they come into this dimension, they're still going to have to deal with the issues around the ramifications of power and control of the old paradigm. And so it's in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And what the big word for Capricorn is, get real. Don't be such an idealist. Get real. You think you're going to clean up the manure pile? Oh yeah? Watch this. I got together with the Lord of the Underworld, Pluto, the one who knows all about where the manure is and has a huge supply underground. And we're going to get together and give you people a reality test because it's in Capricorn. So I think there's going to be a huge challenge for them to face, just to make a mundane example, the ramifications of global warming. It's all nice to say that we should do something now, but they're the generation 20 years hence that are going to be dealing with the critical mass of a huge crisis, not the people currently here. So I think they're going to come in to have a tremendous hard time dealing with their sense of idealism hitting the brutal reality of what they have to face. Now, on the positive side, Saturn Pluto is a survivor. On the positive side, Because the people who went into the concentration camps, a lot of them as young people who survived it, had Saturn and Pluto in their charts too. They were born, 1914 through 1920.
Yeah, you would have had to have been a survivor
Right.
to make it through that.
Right,
Sure.
and so they had that Saturn conjunct Pluto in Cancer in their charts, which allowed them to say, we will survive.
But the disillusionment is a very interesting aspect because the powers that were, big pharma,
Right.
we know medically light and sound, vibration
Mm-hmm.
is the medicine of the future.
Right.
It's the medicine where we should be now, but big pharma still owns the corporations and they play the money side. All of these structures, the oil and gas industry, we've had free energy for 75 years, and why do we still have oil and gas? Because the corporations run the show behind the scenes. There's this illusion from media and everything around it that the status quo is still there, but it's falling away rapidly underneath. It's like a rot. There's no support for it energetically on this planet because Mother Earth has raised her vibration, and you have to raise your vibration with Mother Earth. So within this illusion,
Well, that's what the issue will be.
how do they break away?
With Saturn and Pluto conjuncting. It is a profound restructuring from the deepest roots possible, which means things that think they're immortal, just the way we brought up World War I, like the Habsburg dynasty, they really thought they were going to be around.
They were there for 1,000 years?
Roughly.
Yeah, if you're there for 1,000 years, I
roughly
can give
speaking.
them the fact they think that they would be there ad infinitum type routine.
Right, they did. I mean, come on, that's one of the delusions of royalty.
Yeah, we'll always be in control.
Or we'll always be here just because we're the children of the gods. We're just that good. We just couldn't be away. You're right about the profound restructuring. If everyone decided as a collective group of people, Neptune and Aquarius, Neptune and Pisces, that we are profoundly unhappy with allopathic medicine as run by the medical corporate, that we just don't buy it. We just don't. We have other things we do. We're not interested. Then of course it'll fall away, and that's Saturn, Pluto too. We just aren't interested anymore. It's like someone who was a musical star or had a big hit and suddenly they were very popular, and the next time I was like, who are you and who cares? Now this is what you're looking at, but I think they will probably go in for a huge fight. Saturn, Pluto said it's not going quietly. The only thing that would probably push it would be if people just said, no thank you, I prefer.
And a lot of that is what I try to work with shall we say, the mothers or whatever that listen, is I want to empower them to make a different choice. Not saying don't. There are times that allopathic medicine, if I have a car accident, I need to stabilize the body. That may be the best place to go. But other than that, it's normally for me bottom of the list. And the insurance companies, structuring it the way they do, everything is pushed towards allopathic. So you have the same corporations doing this double whammy against people, and then you have the conditioning. Give your power away to the man in the white coat. It's ongoing.
That's a very big issue. But what I think is profound here is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Remember, it said when it comes together in January, just looking at Saturn-Pluto itself, in the U.S. chart, it's going to be in the second house of values. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction at 23 degrees, Sabian symbol in Capricorn. And I'm going to digress. The Sabian symbols here are a bunch of holographic images that each degree of the zodiac has. It's a multidimensional holographic image, and how you find it is you take the number of degrees in minutes of a planetary placement and you round it up to the whole number to get the Sabian symbol associated with that position. And the reason you round it up is because when you do degrees in astrology, you start at 0 degrees so many minutes. But the Sabian symbols don't have a 0, they have 1. So in order to get the two systems to match, if you have 0 degrees 15 minutes or so, then to get to the Sabian symbol you have to round 0:15 up to 1.
And you see
They match, to make them match, to make the two systems match.
Okay.
I wanted to take a look here at the Saturn-Pluto conjunction itself. It's going to deal with the Sabian symbols on it. I don't know how it's going to manifest yet, but I do know by looking at the Sabian symbols what it will deal with. It deals with a soldier, a courageous soldier, getting 2 rewards, an earthly and heavenly reward. So what we're looking at is something that will manifest physically in the physical reality, the earthly reward, and something that will be heavenly or a divine blessing type of reward. And what you see is it's going to synchronize. And that's going to be very interesting to play with. 2 rewards. So if we could go positively with the necessary restructuring of our lives, whatever it may be, then we will have a comfortable way to keep how to survive. It's like if you can't do one job, you have another job. You learned another skill. You went on. You restructured and you found another way to get substance. It's like ending one career and starting another.
So this conjunction for the U.S. chart occurs in the second house of values.
Right.
Which would represent to me not only a change in those values, but a change in the belief structures, a change in the thought patterns, and a determination of what I do value. All
Exactly.
of these scenarios could change.
And the problem with it being in the second house of the U.S. chart is we're already, because it's there already, we're already seeing it at work. We've got people polarized into right and left, and right is good, left is bad, or left is good and right is bad. Everything is being labeled from a really visceral, emotional level, not from a level of any kind of intelligence or idealism, but some really visceral feelings.
And they throw it in black and white.
Right, it's
There's
very
not-
black and white, it's very visceral. So it's really, in the second house, it's really a fight for what are the values of this country.
Mhm.
Do we believe in democratic ideals that we say we do, or don't we? And with Saturn, Pluto in the second house, it's going to say, do you? Really? Let's watch you. How do you behave? Where do you, when push comes to shove, what erupts out of your gut? That's, your stomach, your emotional self. Never mind, your head goes, and what are you going to do?
So that's where it's working on a society level, and
Right.
it happens in my second house, so I get a double whammy of that going on. But it's important to take a note that it could be for an individual in any of the 12 houses, and
Right.
so you would have, how does this hit me on a
Right.
personal level, as well as
I can only bring up,
the big scale.
I'm bringing up the national level because it means that this country really has to come down and grapple in a knockdown, drag out, no holds barred, no rules, take no prisoners, that's Saturn Pluto, take no prisoners, fight to the death, literally, or fight to the death of rebirth, about who are we and what do we really believe, what do we stand for. And that's where you're seeing the incredible polarization going on right now. It's setting up the massive mother of all battles sort of confrontation. But if we stopped and said, wait a minute, why do I have to label, let's even take this what you've said, why do we have to label Big Pharma as the ultimate enemy? They have done some very good things with allopathic medicine. We don't have to make them the enemy. But let's say we have an alternative. We just step around them rather than labeling the big dragon enemy that we have to annihilate. And that's the key word, annihilate. Saturn, Pluto annihilated and I bring back World War I because it's so graphic. It's such a graphic illustration. And World War II with the concentration camps was again Saturn, Pluto. It isn't a matter of we just lose a few. It's annihilation of whatever it's going to annihilate.
Mm-hmm.
And it whatever it chooses to annihilate, it is done. It wipes it out. It is no more. And so when you look at in the United States chart here, a heavenly and earthly reward, what it's trying to tell you is whatever we do, we have to go to our inner guidance, our divine guidance, to work with it. Because if we leave it to just our gut, this is why the Cancer moon cycle, and our visceral flaring emotions, all we're going to do is duke it out till nobody's alive. We're just going to have a knockdown, drag out bloodbath. And nothing really improves except we just annihilate. The question is, how do we restructure in a way, the challenge is, how do we restructure in a way that promotes rebirth and regeneration?